morning everybody, and welcome back to Grandma's Kitchen. Starting today, after this video, my YouTube channel name will be Cooking with Grandma. I realize that there are way too many websites for Grandma's Kitchen, and I'm not getting as many likes and comments and subscribers as I would like. So after today will be Cooking with Grandma. Now today we're going to be making cheese straws. In my bowl I have 1 cup of flour, 1/2 of a teaspoon of mustard powder, and a little pinch of salt. Mixed it in. Now we're going to put in, we're going to rub the butter in. So we're going to put in, where is it here? 1/2 of a cup of butter. So it says, this is like kind of making pastry. You want to take a pastry blender, or if you don't have a pastry blender, use 2 knives and crisscross back and forth. I didn't have a pastry blender for the longest time. Mine broke, but this is what a pastry blender looks like. Let's see if I can show it here. There. It's very easy to use. You just took it and you just go round and round like this and mix the butter in with the flour. You can get these at the dollar store for, up to $2, $3. Any kitchen store, or even Walmart. They're not expensive, but if you don't want to use the money, spend the money, just use 2 knives crisscross back and forth. So this is what you do. You go like this, and you just keep going until the flour and the butter is mixed in. You want it to be like little pea size. You want it all nice and mixed in. And because I'm using margarine instead of butter, and it's soft, it will get a little bit stuck in here. That's okay. It'll get incorporated. Just takes a little extra effort when it's not real cold and harder shape of butter. But margarine works just as well. If the recipe calls for butter, you can use margarine. Now, I haven't made these in a really, really long time. So I thought I'd give it a try again for everybody to see, and just for us to have something a little bit different. There. That wasn't too long. It was very, very easy to do. I'm just going to scrape it all off my blender here, and I will show you what it looks like, how it should look. There, it should look just like that, nice and crumbly. Not smooth, not real big chunks, but just like that. That's perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to stir in the cheese. It calls for cayenne pepper. I'm not using cayenne pepper because we don't like the heat around here. So you can avoid that. With recipes you can omit things if you don't like them, add different things if you do. Like when I made the peanut butter cookies, very seldom do you see, I've never seen a recipe called for raisins in peanut butter cookie. It was sure a big hit around here. So there you go. That is as easy as it gets. So now you just mix that in. Now we're going to sprinkle the water. It calls for 2 tablespoons of water. I'm just going to sprinkle that in. Let me grab my spoon here. Be right there with you. Okay, so we sprinkle in 2 teaspoons of water, just like that, just not too much. Mix it in, and then we need an egg beaten. So what we need to do with an egg is we'll crack it in a separate bowl. You don't want shells in it. Plus, for the fact in this recipe, you only use half of the egg in this. The other half is to brush them so they get nice and golden brown. So I'm just going to beat the egg up, just like that. Easy peasy. Just use a fork. So roughly eyeball it. You want half. There you go. So the rest will be just for brushing over the top of the cheese straws to make them golden brown in the oven. So there we have it. This looks a little wet. I might have to add a little bit more flour else to see how it rolls together. Now, you roll out on a lightly floured board, and then for the cheese, like you can make nibbles, you can make the little squares, or if you like to, you can roll it out and then cut them in a triangle in different shapes. These are going to be straws, so you roll out the pastry, and for the straws, we're going to roll it out, cut them in straight in lines, and then twist them a little bit and put them on your baking sheet, which I've already got here all floured up, all butter, sorry, not flour, but it's got butter on it so they don't stick. So I'm going to clear off my table here, clear off my mess. Put all this in the sink. Baking is fun, but it can be messy. Alright, so now we're going to roll these out. Let's see. I can get this in here. I think we might have to add a little more flour. This is pretty wet, this dough. Next time I make this, I might not put so much water because it's very, very wet. And it doesn't roll good if it's wet. Just kind of knead it a little bit, roll it into the flour till it's workable. You don't want it gooey, you don't want it messy so you can't roll it and pick it up. So now you roll out the dough and cut into a variety of shapes for the nibbles. The cheese straws, you cut the cheese pastry into fingers about 4 inches long and 1/4 of an inch wide. You can measure. I have a tape measure that I keep in my baking supply drawer with all my measuring things. Or you can just go, yeah, that looks pretty good. The only reason you follow their recommendations for the width and the length is you can get how many you're going to get. The recipe calls for, you know, it makes like a dozen. Well, if you don't roll it quite the way they make it, you'll get more than that or you'll get less, depending on if you make it bigger or make them smaller. And this looks like it's going to roll just nice. I hope it doesn't stick too much to my table. Now I'm going to get a butter knife and I'm going to cut it. I think you can all see that pretty good. There we go. There it is. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so all you do is you take and you cut strips just like this and lay them onto your baking sheet. Roll out the trimmings, cut 4 inches wide, and then you can, when you have leftovers, it says to roll them and make it into a ring and wrap the rings around, you know, 5 or 6 straws. I'm not going to do that. We're just going to have just cheese strings. There we go. Or maybe some nibbles. I might add some, you know, the dough is nice. I might combine, you know, make a little, my grandkids like the cheese nibs. If you've ever seen them in the store, you can buy them in the box, the little square cheese flavored crackers. They like those. It's nice to have homemade things because you know exactly what is going into your product, your baking choice. You don't have a lot of chemicals, you don't have any additives. They have to put those in when they put them in the box stores to keep them fresh. You know, you can kind of understand that, but at the same time, if you don't want all that stuff in your food, then make it from scratch. This was 1 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of mustard powder, a 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, and like I said, I omitted the cayenne pepper. I didn't want them to be hot. And then 1 cup of grated cheese and 1/2 of an egg. So the other half you're going to use to brush the tops of these so they get nice and toasty brown in the oven. So I'm just trying to make a little more room here on my pastry, on my cookie sheet. I'm going to bake these off, and we should be able to show you, I'm going to make another recipe here, we should be able to show you what they look like baked. They should be done by the time I'm done with my other recipes. You see, they're not all fitting, so I'm just going to break them up and make smaller ones. And I'm going to get another cookie sheet. Alright, so now what you do, and you have to brush with the remaining egg. Use a brush, a pastry brush. These are very readily available everywhere. I have even used a paintbrush you can buy. It does the same thing, but obviously you don't use it for painting. Just keep in your drawer. And then what you do is you just lightly brush over all of your cheese straws. There, just like that with the egg. And what that does is make them nice and golden brown and a little crispy on top. And they are going to taste good. We're all trying to eat a little healthier around here, so this kind of a snack is nice and healthy. Got all the protein in the cheese, and it's just, there's no sugar in them. It's just flour and cheese and egg, and there you go. Now I'm going to pop these in the oven. They bake at 350 for 8 minutes. We'll see how well that turns out. I'm going to set my timer so I don't lose track of time and they burn. And all of a sudden you smell something and say, uh-oh, there goes your cheese straws. So, a little bit of, let's see. What does it say? Does it say to bake free? Yep, 8 to 10 minutes here. So I put my timer for 8. And I have a little bit dough left. So what I'm going to do is roll it out. And for this one, because it's just a little piece left, I'm going to cut it in little squares and bake them off just to give it a little bit different. So you can grab a handful on the go. Grab a handful, put them in a little bowl. If you're in the car, put them in a little baggie for the kids when they're in the car. And they have got a little nice snack. It's not a real lot of mess in your car. They're not that crumbly. And you can just, they can be occupied while you're going to wherever it is you have to go. I'm just going to get another baking sheet here. Hang on with me, Bruce. There it is. Okay, so it's the same thing. You just put the little pieces on your cookie sheet. And these won't rise because there's no baking powder in them. They'll stay flat, but they'll puff up a little from the flour. But they're not meant to big puffy. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to just brush the tops of them with the egg wash. That one's stuck to the other one. Look there. Just jumped right off there. And pop these in the oven with the other ones. Now my other recipe I'm going to make you today is one of our favorites. It's called snickerdoodles. And you can buy these, or you can find these recipes all over. Any book, any internet show anywhere. But this particular recipe that I have is from my great-great-grandmother. And it was passed down to all of us. My grandmother, my mother, and she gave it to my sister and I when we started baking. And it is an easy recipe. It's something that everybody likes. It's, it's just fun. And just the name, snickerdoodles. It kind of sounds like it's fun to say and to have. So I'm going to get my page here and get started. All right, so snickerdoodles are another very easy recipe. You know, there's not a lot of extra work to it. There's not a lot of extra ingredients. You don't need, to go too crazy. You don't have to add this and add that and, blend this together. But you put everything in the bowl and mix it all up. So the first thing you want to do is it says here for my recipe, the ones that are all over the place, they say mix the flour and the butter, or the butter and the sugar, and mix it till it's smooth. Now just dump it all in the bowl. So this calls for a half a cup of butter. There we go. Let me see if I got my bowl back in the right place here for y'all to see what I'm doing. Sorry about that. I put the baking soda box right in front of you. Okay, there we go. Got my camera propped up here, so got to make sure I'm getting it in the right angle for you. Okay, half a cup of butter goes in, just like that. That's done. Put the butter top back on and put it to the side. And then we need 1.5 cups of sugar. 1.5 cups, easy peasy. This recipe is so good and it's so easy to make. 1.5 cups of sugar. Remember, like I said before, baking you have to be pretty accurate. You can eyeball things when you get good at it, and you'll know, okay, that measure it first and then judge it later. If you think it's not quite right, put it in the measuring cup just to make sure. Because it's got to be pretty bang on with the amounts. Otherwise your dough will be either too soft or too dry, or just not, overall not taste good. So I just put in a teaspoon of vanilla. Now I'm going to put in 2 eggs. These are our nice fresh chicken eggs that we have. There we go. Get 2 a day because we have one of our chickens is what they call on brood. That means she's sitting on the eggs thinking that she's going to hatch them. But because we don't have a rooster, That's not going to happen. But you know, chickens are like that, and that's what they do. That's the natural, they're naturally like that. So now we want 1/4 of a cup of milk. 1/4, let me just grab my other, Max, it keeps getting in my way here. I'm tripping over him. He's standing right here watching, thinking I'm going to drop something so he can have some food. So there we go, 1/4 of a cup of milk goes in. These ingredients are really easy. If you stock up your pantry with flour, sugar, vanilla, butter, eggs, baking soda, baking powder, brown sugar sometimes, if you have all that on hand, you can make pretty much any cookie recipe, any cake recipe. It won't take long at all. Okay, so now we need 3½ cups of flour. So here we go. There's half. There's 1. I have contained these jars here that are putting for my flour and my sugar, and my big measuring cups won't fit in there. So there's 2. So I have to use the half one. I might get them at work. We have their like little scoops, but they're measuring spoons. And I've seen them at work. Well, I work at the dollar store, and I've seen them and think, oh, that would be so handy. They would get right down into these jugs. Because these jars are really nice. They keep a lid on them. Everything's airtight, and they keep everything good and fresh. So there's 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Oh, where'd my spoon go? Max, did you take my spoon? No, he's just looking at me like, what are you talking about, lady? 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay. It says walnuts or pecans. No, this is an additive that I believe it was my grandmother that added, but the original recipe had no nuts in it, so we're not going to put them in. So now, that's it. That's all your ingredients. Couldn't it be easier? You just mix that all together, and with these, what you're going to do is you roll them into balls in a mixture of cinnamon and sugar, and place them on your baking trays. You roll them in. You place them in, you just flatten just a little bit. Just push them down with your hands. They'll stay nice and round. Oh, this is perfect. See how nice that dough is? And this extra work of beating the sugar and the butter together, and then adding the vanilla, then adding the eggs, then adding the flour. That's just a lot of extra work. Some recipes you have to follow the directions as well as ingredients to the T, but most of the time you can get away with it. There's what they look like. That is absolutely the perfect consistency, because you want to be able to roll them. And if you can't pick them up and roll them, then, you know, it's just not going to work for you. You need to be able to roll them out into balls. And, oh, there's our timer. Let me check on the cheese strings here, see how they came out. Wow. All right. Oh, goodness. Almost dropped them. That wouldn't have been too pretty. I think I'm going to give them just another minute. Yep, they're not quite. It said 8 to 10, and they're just not quite there yet. They did puff up a little bit. Maybe next time what I'll do is maybe roll them more into balls. Just make them rounder, more like a straw. These are cheese sticks. They're not cheese straws. So that's okay though, because they're going to get eaten the same way. They're a little bit soft right now, and they harden up. Now in this little bowl, I'm going to put a little sugar and a little bit of cinnamon. It's 5 tablespoons of sugar and 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. This is one of those ones that I just eyeball. I just mix it in. You can always make more if you need to. It's easy. There you go, cinnamon sugar. And now you take your ball of dough, and you want it to be about the size of a walnut. Probably just like that. That's about the right size. You don't want to go much bigger, because then they take longer to cook. And you roll it in the sugar. Let's see if I can get that for you. Roll it around in your cinnamon sugar. And when you're done, there you go. Put it on your cookie sheet and just push it down just a little bit. And you continue doing this until the batter is all gone. Bake them for 10 minutes or so. My oven bakes faster, so it'll probably be about 7 or 8. Again, it depends on how big you make them. If you make them too big, then they will cook faster. You want to try to make them all the same size as you on each cookie sheet. Again, that will affect the cooking time. If some are bigger than others, they'll cook small. You know, some smaller ones are going to cook faster, and then you're going to either burn them because you're going to think, oh well, the big ones aren't done. So if you put them all the same size, roughly, it's going to be much easier for you. So there we go. I've got those 6, and these bake off in no time. You know, well, there's the timer again. So let's get those cheese straws out and take a look. And what I'll do is I'll put this first batch of cookies in, and while I'm making the other tray, hopefully they'll be done before my segment is over, and I can show you how wonderful they look when they come out. I'm also making brownies today. I'm gonna make I haven't made those in a really long time. Just something different, something for a little bit of a change. Let's see. Yeah, they look. Oh, they're perfect. Yeah. Okay, so here is our cheese sticks. That's what they look like. Let me move my. Oh goodness, switch the whole camera over. Okay, let me fix this. Alrighty. Try that again there, Grandma. There we go. There's the cheese sticks. Cheese straws or cheese sticks, whatever you want to call them. And that's what they're going to be looking like, and they're going to be tasty nice. They'll harden up a little bit as they sit and get a little crispy. There's the little ones. Let me get a better hold of that pot there. There's the little ones. I just made them in little squares. It was just the leftover dough. Those are the nice for the little ones. I've got a 3-year-old grandson, and that's about the size he would like. So here is the snickerdoodles. On the pan, you just push them down just like this, just a little. There you go, just like that with your hand. Not like peanut butter cookies, you don't push them with a fork, just very slightly. Put those in the oven, bake them for 8 to 10 minutes. I'm going to set my timer for 8 minutes because I don't want them to burn, and I think 10 minutes will probably be too long. I'm going to take these cheese straws off, the cheese nibs off the one cookie sheet here, and use it for the rest of my cookies. And there we go, that's easy. Wipe down the cookie tray. I sometimes will buy parchment paper. You can buy it in the pre-cut sheets or by the roll and cut it to fit yourself. It is so easy for cleanup. And I usually use it twice for, you know, I can use it over again. You layer it on your cookie sheet. You don't have to grease them. You don't have to flour anything. And it's just wonderful because it makes cleanup so easy. You leave it right on your cookie sheets when you're done with your cookies. Put them back in your cupboard. Use them again. You'll know when it's obviously time to change them, when they get too browned and too crinkly. Then you just simply throw them away and start over, and your cookie sheets stay clean. You don't have to wash them. So there we go, making another batch of snickerdoodles. These are the easiest cookies to make, and they're so good. It's such a nice snack. A little extra sugar when you're rolling them, but you know, it's not that bad. You're not going to eat 20 of them. You know, we can eat 3 or 4 at a time, and that's good. Have a nice cold glass of milk or have a cup of tea, whatever your preference is. My grandkids, my 2 little ones, the 3-year-old and the 6-year-old, they drink mostly milk, so they'll have cookies and milk when they come to Grandma's house. Those are 2 are my weekend boys. The 12-year-old, you know, is Dino Brody. He lives here, so he likes his cookies with his juice. He likes Fruitopia, so he drinks that all the time. And yeah, Dino Brody's on the road to recovery. He just went to his final doctor's appointment. His leg is all nice and healed. And now it's just a matter of getting his strength back and walking again. So, there. I'm going to set this aside. And let's see if I have time to do anything else. Actually, I think for the baking aspect, that'll be it for today. But I do want to show you something that I'm going to make for supper. This is kind of neat. I've seen these in the stores, but never ever. I used them once. I haven't bought them before, but I think they're pretty cool. These are taco bowls. They're shaped like a little bowl, and you put your taco filling in there. I don't know if I can see where the line is to open it. It's sealed really, really well. Okay. These are, and then, you know, they're not as messy as having a taco shell that you bite into it and it crumbles all over the place. And they're soft. I would prefer soft tacos. No, it's got the little flap, and of course it's not going to cooperate, so I'm just going to cut into the package. Alright, so there. This is what, there's 12 in a package. I get them at work for $2. Let's see, you'll see that? Let's see, where am I going to put it? There we go. Nope, that's too far away. There. Just like that. And you fill up. I'm going to make chicken tacos. I have pre-cooked chicken. I'm going to cut it all up, mix it with some salsa, and put grated cheese on top. And that is going to be our supper. I'm going to get out my chicken to show you how easy it is. I mean, it can't be any easier. It is just as simple as it can be. Something falling off the fridge. So what I'm going to do here is show you. To get this open, I need a cutting board and a knife because it is cooked chicken, but you still don't want to get it all over your other, you know, your baking area and your food. And it's, you can buy these packets just like this. You can buy them at any grocery store. These are at Walmart. They're 2 for $10. So you can get seasoned chicken strips, or you can get turkey. And seasoned, unseasoned, it's really your preference. So I'm going to cut these up in little chunks. Let's see if you can, yeah, I can see what I'm doing here. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to cut these up just tiny. You don't want them real big because you're having little bites. You want it in a taco. You want to fill it up. Easy peasy. And we do have, I have store-bought salsa right now, but when the garden is full of tomatoes and peppers, and you know, we just get to abundance of them, you get so many of them in your garden, then we make our own. So my husband, he makes our own salsa. You just chop up tomatoes and peppers and onions and cook it down, and it has, you know, has its own sauce. You don't want too much sauce in tacos. You don't want them to be too watery. So here you go. You take the shell, you put your chicken in the bottom, or a hamburger if that's what you choose to use. I just wanted to make chicken tacos tonight. And you get a spoon and spoon in your, that's a fork, that won't help. There we go. Grabbed the wrong thing, I wasn't looking. You can use chopped, like buy fresh tomatoes and lettuce, that kind of thing. I like this because it adds a little bit of extra flavor. You can use this taco seasoning. This time I'm not using it. I kind of don't like the spiciness of it. It's not too spicy, but sometimes it can be. And if you just aren't a spice person, then you just don't want it. So now I'm going to grate some cheese on my board. Just, you don't need much because these are little, but you know, there's 12 in each package, so that's enough for everybody to have 4 or 5 of them if they want them. And it makes a nice full meal. You got your chicken, you got your cheese, got a little veggies with the tomatoes going on. There you go. Now I will just pop these in the oven for just a couple of minutes, just to brown up the tortilla shells. You don't really need to do that. And have a salad with it on the side. And there you go. Chicken taco. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So now I'm just going to take the snickerdoodles, the first batch, out of the oven. It's counting down. My pot holder here, it's counting down to 0. And let's see how they look. And I'll show you. It's nice having the reveal right now. You don't have to wait to see what you're going to get. So let me take these. Oh boy, they puffed up so nice. These are wonderful. So there is the snickerdoodles, all nice and puffed up there. Look how beautiful they look. And they are just so good. That's why I say try to get them all the same size, because then they cook evenly. There you go. And those are snickerdoodles. And if you want the recipe, I did go through it in the video, but if you'd like the exact ingredients, so add it in the comments with your email address, or just say in the comments that you'd like it, and I will add my own comment with the exact ingredients. Any recipe that I make, I will do that for you. I will put it in the comment section. If you want to email me, I will do that too. So everybody have a wonderful day and enjoy all your baked goods. Bye!